about this idea of a multiplier. Our shows multiply your success, and everyone. This is maybe the favorite question because we probably get the most diverse responses. So I love hearing what different folks have to say. So, is there a multiplier that you've used along the way?
It's probably communication, and I often I haven't kid facetiously, but it's probably the truth. I probably am a content creation company that just happens to be in the HR space, or whatever space I'm in. Sometimes I wonder, uh, but I've constantly tried to communicate with people. I'm going to go back to my dental days. 1980, we were in a recession. Gold was through the roof, silver was through the roof. Mortgage rates were crazy. I mean, mortgage rates were as high as credit card rates. Um, and I started a new business in a town that the largest employer lays off for the first time in history, the day I start my practice. And 2 months later, I put out a newsletter, and everybody else, and again, I'm going to age myself, but anybody who was around, you used to get, for anybody who was around in 1980, and you went to a doctor's office and they had a newsletter, it usually was a typewritten page, um, that was all spotty because they ran it through a mimeograph machine, or it was a bad copy, and it was all speckled. We had color. It was one color, but for October, it probably came out as orange, and then for the winter, it probably was green or red for Christmas. Uh, but it was one color newsletter. And I remember all my peers saying, well, that's a lot of work. That's really expensive. We didn't direct market them. We sent them to our patients, but because it differentiated us. And then I could have sent it out as stock, just here's great stories. I always wrote the first page and the last page to personalize it. I talked about our staff. I talked about us. I talked about what was important to people. Um, and I haven't stopped doing that for 40 years. I still do newsletters. And sure, people get a lot of newsletters and they reject them, but it's amazing how many people that keep in touch. It's like, oh, we really appreciate this. We can't read every one, but it's a reminder. It knows I'm still in front of them. So I do a lot of content. I do videos, I do audio, I got a podcast, I write, I blog, I wrote books. Um, I, my multiplier is certainly content.
That's amazing, amazing, and that you've been doing it for so long, and in all of these different distribution channels, right? I mean, in the
Locally,
'80s, it was
right?
typing and printing and making copies, and as technology changed, you have changed with it, but it's still the same concept. You're creating content and sharing that and personalizing it. I like that.
It's communication. I mean, the
Yeah.
theme is not that, oh, what's better, an article or a podcast or a video. It's communication. How do you communicate? And 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 it needs to be engaging. It can't be one way. What's the communication that creates an engagement similar to the reach? How do you reach the people? How do you engage them? They don't have to apply to get this, other than signing up, giving you their email. But then what's the conversation like? How do you ignite that conversation? And you got to do it some way.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. And well, for the final question, we like to ask every guest is what does success mean to you?